You're listening to the Paranormal Peeps on the Darkcast Network. Come to the dark side of indie podcasts with the Darkcast Network.
We have cookies. Between the realm of the dead and the journeys of the living, join Josh, Jamie, and Elisa as they delve into the vast world of the paranormal and breathe life back into the history of the departed.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Paranormal Peeps podcast. I'm Josh.
I'm Jamie.
And where is Elisa?
Well, you know, she wanted to be here, but she thought it was really important to go to Loch Ness, do some deep diving, and make friends with Nessie.
So she's like scuba diving in Loch Ness?
Yeah. Yep.
Why didn't we get the invite?
You know, I asked that when she was flying with pterodactyls, and I asked that when she was looking for Bigfoot to give him a mani-pedi, and she just, I don't know.
Man.
I guess she has these special bonds with these things. Doesn't want to spook them.
She's got that paranormal bond to the cryptids.
There you go.
All right, so today we are going to talk about the most haunted house in Australia.
Ooh, Australia.
Right?
The country that everything wants to kill you in.
Except this house. I don't think this house will kill you.
You know, I don't know.
I guess we're going to find out.
Let's find out.
Although I will say this, if I was visiting the house and doing a paranormal investigation and a huntsman spider decided to walk up the wall, I would probably just throw all of the equipment away and be done with it.
I wouldn't even take the time to do that. I just turn around and run.
Just abandon it.
Dive out the first window, door, whatever.
We've just abandoned the equipment. We're good. And how did it burn down? There was a spider.
No, because then you get accused of torching the place.
Right. So the home was actually built by a Christopher William Crawley. And he was born in 1841 to his parents, William and Jane Crawley. And he grew up kind of like in the inner city suburbs of Balmain.
Okay.
He developed an interest in farming. In 1860, he married his wife, Elizabeth Carr. And the couple moved into the town of Junee, where Christopher had purchased 2 parcels of land to build their family home. Now, Christopher unfortunately struggled to make ends meet in the early years. He lived in a small slab hut with his wife and growing family. However, his fortune changed in 1878 when the Grand Southern Railway line opened. So that brought a whole bunch of travelers and agricultural trade to town. And Christopher, being the kind of entrepreneurial kind of guy, he actually bought a license to build a railway hotel.
Dang.
On the opposite side of the railway station. So, you know, people get off the train and there's the hotel right there.
Perfect.
So obviously, yeah, that's the best way to do it, right? And
Well, it's convenient.
It's convenient. And he actually became one of the town's wealthiest residents.
Gee, I wonder why.
Right? Hard to imagine. So as his wealth and societal status grew, he kind of thought, you know what? I need something to show my success. I need a symbol to show how wealthy I am.
Oh, geez. Ego,
right?
A little bit.
So in 1884 to 1885, he built the Monte Cristo Homestead.
Like the sandwich?
Like the sandwich.
Ooh, I could go for a Monte Cristo.
I could too. But it's definitely not named after the sandwich.
Dang it.
I know. I was actually hoping in the research that this is where the sandwich was named after. Unfortunately, if you guys do know that the Monte Cristo sandwich is named after the Count of Monte Cristo.
Yeah.
So this home is a 2-story mansion overlooking the town of Junee. The house was built in the late Victorian style and became an ultimate status symbol. Prior to its construction of the homestead, the Crawley family, father, mother, and 7 children
Dang.
lived in a small brick cottage that was turned into the servants' quarters.
Okay, so they repurposed it.
Yeah. The original slab hut was demolished and turned into a stable for the Crawleys' prized horses. The new home was built on a hill overlooking the entire town and became the magnificent representation of Crawley's wealth and success.
Like he's above everybody else because he's up on a hill.
A little bit
symbolically.
Like that. Symbolically, yeah. It's interesting though, because if you look at a lot of the places where these super wealthy people lived,
yeah,
they usually did live up on a hill overlooking town at the time, anyway.
Yeah.
So Monte Cristo is the grandest home of the landed gentry in the region. It was envisioned as the ultimate status symbol, much like a feudal European castle. It served as the center of local power and was strategically located on the hill, allowing its lord to survey his realm from the second-floor balcony.
Of course.
Despite being a farming property, the nucleus of the Crawley family's agricultural pursuits, Mr. Crawley was not above getting his hands dirty. So at least he toiled in the soil.
Yeah, he'll get in there right down with anybody.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know.
So
I like hearing that, hey, I'm not going to ask you to do things I'm unwilling to do myself.
Right.
As, the boss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Mackey Mansion, right? Like John Mackey was, he got into the mines. He was down in the Comstock Lode.
Yep.
Slaving away.
That's right.
So no expense was spared in construction of this beautiful mansion. It was built of sandstone bricks, fired on site and laid on a dry stone foundation. In over a century, not a single crack has appeared in the structure.
Imagine that when things were built to last.
Yeah.
And done properly.
The downstairs walls are 18 inches thick.
Dang.
And the upper walls are 9 inches thick, both made of solid brick.
Nice.
So that's going to really be insulated really nicely.
Sure.
That actually might be pretty comfortable in the hot winters.
I would hope so.
Or hot summers.
Because if it bakes like a brick oven, then that's a whole nother problem.
We cooked our turkey right on the stove, right on the kitchen table.
Yeah. In 5 minutes.
The ceilings are 12 feet high with cypress pine construction upstairs and lathe and plaster construction downstairs. 12-foot ceilings.
Nice. Some really good vaulted ceilings there.
I thought 10-foot ceilings was nice.
Well, it is. I'm not going to complain.
Yeah. The house was built during the late Victorian era and has pleasing lines and proportions and retains much of its symmetry to that earlier period. The applied decoration of plaster work and cast iron lattice adds the necessary touch of opulence so loved by the Victorians. Monte Cristo's charm lies in the balance of its design, which demonstrates a style of building unchanged since early colonial days.
Nice.
So it was really like this beautiful, gorgeous place.
Well, yeah, and I saw a picture of it, and it is nice.
Yeah, that's what it looks like today.
Yeah, it makes me wonder what did it look like back then?
I think close to that, but there's a center period that we'll talk about.
Okay.
In its day, the homestead was renowned as one of the region's social centers. There were balls. The local gentry engaged in country pursuits such as tennis and golf on the region's first course. Between these social events, the Crawleys raised 7 children, all of whom went to lead happy, productive lives. The girls, Helen Ann Lillian, Lydia Blanche, Florence Agnes, and Angela Christina Pidge, were all musically talented and received education at the best schools their parents could afford, including the Dominican Covenant in Maitland and South Vincent's Potts Point.
I don't know what that is.
They're 2 supposedly very prestigious places.
Sounds great.
They were taught music and painting, and Lillian, the great beauty of the family, was an accomplished pianist and composer. She composed the Scottia Scottishi in 1895 for a ball at the Government House and dedicated it to Lady Dunbar. Angela Christina was a talented artist who enjoyed sketching and pen drawings.
So they had a wide variety of musical, painting, probably appreciation for the arts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they had a wide range of interests.
Yeah.
And accomplishments.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I mean, that's great.
That's really cool.
I think that's great when, you raise happy, healthy kids that are, productive.
Right? So the boys, Marvin Marmaduke.
Marmaduke.
The big red dog.
Yeah. No, that's Clifford.
Oh, that's right.
Marmaduke's like the Great Dane.
Yes.
Yeah.
Aubrey Clarence and Alphonse Hillary were educated at Riverview and St. Joseph's in Sydney and St. Patrick's in Goulburn. Again, I'm sure these are very prestigious places.
Yeah, we're not familiar with them,
No,
but
not
others
at all.
maybe. Yeah.
Mervyn, nicknamed the Pioneer of Queensland, owned and operated extensive pastoral holdings in the state. Aubrey, who played the violin, became a doctor, and Alphonse, noted as the finest pianist of a very musical family. He became a solicitor and broke the Australian record for practicing for 62 years.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's commitment. It really is. Like, he really had a passion for it to, do that a majority of his life.
And he was the best pianist in the entire family, with all of his sisters playing music.
Yeah. That's amazing.
That's impressive.
That is impressive. Good for him.
Yeah. Mrs. Crawley, remembered as the very like Queen Victoria, usually wore a black lace dress, lace cap with stand-up beaded collar, and lace cap. She ruled a house with a rod of iron.
Figuratively. Let's hope.
We hope. And with her husband, appeared to be the quintessential Victorian couple, but perceptions were often misleading. Staff would later recount stories of harsh mistreatment by the employers, which spawned many ominous legends persisting today.
See, that makes me sad. That there's this wonderful family that, they sound like they were, always willing to get their hands dirty and work and do all these things, but then to hear that they mistreated their staff.
Yeah.
It makes me sad.
It's super sad. The thing that's interesting, though, I mean, if you think about it, right? Like, this wasn't an uncommon practice back in the 1800s.
I know. It's still.
Yeah, it still should.
You can't tell me that back in that day that other people of, wealth didn't go, hear those things and say, well, that's really wrong that they did that. You can't tell me that it was just, I think maybe it was widely accepted because of the time.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it was okay.
Very true.
Yeah.
Maybe they had chocolate pie.
Yeah, a lot of people won't get that, though.
They probably won't. If you get it, if you know, you know.
Yep.
William Christopher Crawley, he died at the Monte Cristo on 14th of December, 1910, at the age of 69. But he died from heart failure secondary to blood poisoning caused by a carbuncle on his neck becoming infected when it was rubbing up against his starch collar.
Oh, boy.
It's believed his widow only left the house on 2 occasions in the remaining 23 years of her life. She turned an upstairs box or storage room into a chapel and immersed herself in the Bible. Mrs. Crawley herself died at Monte Cristo on the 12th of August, 1933, at the age of 92.
Wow, she really lived a long time.
A long life.
Yeah.
She died of heart failure secondary to a ruptured appendix.
Oh, my. Not a fun way to go either.
No. The homestead's glory days were over, but Monte Cristo remained a Crawley family home until 1948, when the last members of the family vacated it. After their departure, no one lived in the house until it was acquired by the Ryan family more than a decade later. By this time, its furnishings had been auctioned off. The stately grandeur of the Monte Cristo had faded with time, vandalism, and neglect from a generation that had ceased to care about its pioneering past.
That's kind of the story for most of these places that you see. Historic and even not. People cease to just care and they just, or banks buy them and own them and they don't, put them up for sale or anything, and then they just deteriorate. We saw that back when we lived in Washington.
Oh, yeah. It happens.
Over by where our friends lived, there was 2 or 3 homes that were perfectly good homes, and the banks, for whatever reason, were just sitting on them.
Yeah.
and they didn't rent them out. They didn't sell them, and they got dilapidated. And you just, and craftsmanship isn't like it was back then, where it is solid and it was done right and built to last.
Right.
So these homes, they deteriorated much quicker.
Yeah. I mean, this home, I've got some pictures of this house. When the Ryans bought it. And there's like floorboards missing on the balcony.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the wrought iron is missing and gone. There's holes in walls and ceilings and stuff.
Oh, sure.
Like, it was just beat up from people who just vandalized it. And I mean, it's the same thing with homes today, right? Any place that's abandoned, people go in there just to bust windows or break
spray
stuff.
paint and put holes in the wall, you name it.
Because they can. And silliness in itself.
It's stupid.
So in 1963, Reginald and Olive Ryan bought the Monte Cristo Homestead, and they began the process of restoring it to its former glory.
See, I love people that come along and say, this has significance. It was, there's history here.
Yeah.
This beautiful craftsmanship at one time. Let's restore it to that.
So put it back the way it was.
I like people who go in and care.
Yeah. And that's the picture that you saw that I sent you. That's the restored home.
Yeah, and it looks nice.
So as we discussed, the house had been abandoned for a decade and was in horrible disrepair. So the Ryans worked really hard to get this house restored, including sourcing original furnishings and fixtures to recreate the house to its original ambiance.
Yeah.
Which is pretty neat, to go find the original stuff that they built the house with and go put it back.
Absolutely. Dedication right there.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people would go in there, and with something like that, they'd be like, we'll save what we can save, and the rest, let's just do it this way.
Yeah.
So
the Ryan family has deep roots in the Junee and the Wagga Wagga region.
Wagga Wagga.
Wagga Wagga.
Wagga Wagga.
With Reginald Ryan, the patriarch was born in January 18th, 1934, as the youngest of three sons to Stanley and Florence Ryan at 24 Best Street, Wagga Wagga.
I would love to live on a street that was Wagga Wagga.
Well, that was the town.
Oh, I'd love to live in a town like that.
They lived on the best street in Wagga Wagga.
Where do you live? I live in Wagga Wagga. Oh, I love it.
Despite the fact that the Monte Cristo Homestead was constructed by the Crawley family in the 1800s, its existence today is largely due to the hard work and dedication of the Ryan family, who saved it from being demolished many years ago.
Yeah. Well, thank goodness.
I know, right? It's like if they wouldn't have done it, it would have been...
probably would have been gone by now.
Yeah. So Reginald Ryan, he was actually a tailor by trade. So after he purchased the homestead and working tirelessly to pay off the bank loans and restore the property and care for his family, he also ended up having to work a variety of additional jobs.
Oh, wow.
Including as a drinks waiter, a laborer, a door-to-door salesman, and then he eventually became an antiques dealer. Which actually, the funny thing is him becoming an antiques dealer is actually what helped him to get the furnishings for the property.
Nice.
So in 1986, the Ryan family stopped dealing in antiques and opened the Monte Cristo as a local museum.
Oh, that's cool. So is it a museum today?
It is a museum today.
Nice.
And so you can go and do tours and visit it and just enjoy it as it was.
Right.
So while it's known for its antique store and award-winning tourism, it has always been a beloved family home for the Ryans, presided over by Reginald and Olive, their 5 children, Deborah, Nolene, Michaeline, Shirley, and Lawrence. Devotedly assisted them in restoring the estate. So everyone helped. Today, Lawrence Ryan, most known for his famous stuntman, the Lawrence Legend. Not a clue. He's the one that He's the one that cares for it now, with his mom Olive, and they run ghost tours.
Oh, that's so awesome!
Yeah,
love it.
So, being one of the most haunted places in Australia, they have obviously lots of ghosts. And reportedly, they say they have at least 10 separate ghosts.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Or is it one ghost with multiple personalities? That would be something, huh?
That'd be interesting, right?
Can ghosts have multiple personalities?
Well, if they had multiple personality disorder while alive, I'm sure they could have it in.
But aren't you freed of all your earthly garbage?
If you cross over.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole nother thing. So
you could have a non-crossed multi-personality ghost.
And think you're dealing with 10 different spirits.
And you're really just dealing with one.
That would be kind of funny if you think about it.
That would be very interesting. Okay, so what are some of the hauntings that they have?
Well, there's a handful, obviously. I mean, if there's one ghost with 10 personalities or 10 different spirits. So the most seen apparition at the Monte Cristo is Elizabeth Crawley herself.
Makes sense. She lived there the longest.
Yeah, and she ruled with a iron rod, remember?
Yeah.
Like it says. So I could really see
her
and plus her last 23 years before she passed away, nobody really saw her leave the house. Twice that's known.
Yeah.
But that says that, if she was very attached to the home because she resided there and rarely left its four walls.
Yeah.
So she's often referred to as the Lady in Gray. So we hear this a lot, Lady in White, Lady in Gray. There's always one of those varieties there. So, but okay, so she's Lady in Gray. Her presence is most often just felt by a lot of people that go through there. She's often seen at the top of the grand staircase as well.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah, so first a lot of people report feeling her, and then sometimes she's seen up there. So they think that she's watching over the house with an otherworldly gaze. So I could see, if that is the case, I could see why you would really kind of feel that, like somebody watching you, because if she ran a real tight household,
yeah,
you'd be under her watchful eye.
I wonder if you were on a tour and you kind of strayed away from the tour, if she would smack you back into line.
With that iron rod?
Yeah, with that iron rod.
So she's most frequently sighted in the small room that she once transformed into that chapel. So remember when it said that she basically really hung out in there and
basically immersed in herself in the Bible in the chapel.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That there's a lot of energy she put into that room, whether it's actual just residual presence or intelligent.
Yeah. Or maybe it's a combination.
Yeah.
I wonder if that can happen, though. Do you think that there can be possibly from a past person, that there could be both their residual energy as well as their intelligent?
I think so. Because the thing is your energy imprint on an area is due to your...
on the environment.
Yeah, it's due to your,
emotions
and stuff on the environment.
Yeah.
And so if you have a spot like the chapel where she was in there, maybe praying all the time and, reading the Bible, there's a lot of emotional energy, just her presence energy in itself.
Sure.
So she could imprint really hard on that section. And then maybe her presence seen on in the grand staircase and other places is actually more intelligent.
And just kind of watching over her home.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of the witnesses they've described her as just a shadowy figure dressed in a somber black attire, which is much like what she wore when she was alive.
All black.
She wore black lace and stuff. So she's often seen carrying a gleaming silver cross. So, and it says the intensity of her haunting is been known to scare people out of the dining room area.
Huh.
But they say her presence is unmistakably marked by a sudden and bone-chilling drop in the temperature. Now, we hear this a lot.
We felt it before, too.
We have experienced, on occasion, those things. But you also hear, that's one of the reports that you hear a lot.
Yeah.
Christopher Crawley, her husband, he actually makes sporadic appearances kind of within the hallways of the home.
Okay.
He's not commonly sighted as much as his wife, so it's more rare for him.
Right.
And he appears to quietly pace and doesn't really bother anybody. So I'm going to think that maybe that's more residual because he seems to pace the hallways.
Which is probably something he did a lot.
Yeah. And I'm guessing he probably did. So the fact that he doesn't bother anybody means that there's no interaction there. So maybe it is a residual thing.
Yeah.
You know, unless you kind of experience it yourself, it's hard to say which it is.
Right. Because if he's walking down the hall and you see him and you gasp or make a noise and he turns around and looks at you, that would be some more intelligent.
Or turns around and says, leave, get out of my house.
Much obliged, sir.
Thank you, and I'm going. So there's another haunting, and they call this one the tragic child.
Yeah.
Which, okay, we already know where this is going.
Nowhere good.
So it's one of the most heart-wrenching ones that they report there, and it's about a child who met a horrific fate by falling down the stairs there. So in 1917, at the Monte Cristo, Ethel, so the infant granddaughter of Christopher Crawley.
Yeah.
Ethel died when her nursemaid claimed that an unforeseen force had propelled her.
So pushed her.
Yep. So basically pushed her, causing her to drop the infant down the staircase.
Why do I not buy that?
Well, you know, and I don't know. I'm not saying that it is completely impossible.
It's not.
But it doesn't sound right. Like it doesn't sit quite right.
Right.
For some reason. I don't know why.
Do you feel like it'd be something more intentional? Like she intentionally did it? Or do you think it's like, oh, she tripped and then she lost her balance? And
so the feeling I get from it, and I really don't know, but I feel like she misstepped.
Okay.
Like tripped something and ended up accidentally dropping.
I could see that.
But I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know.
I would have serious questions for you.
We should ask Elisa.
If you said if you were there.
So would I. So the haunting aftermath of the event is just another tragedy in the house. So it sounds like there's been multiple tragedies.
Yeah.
So visitors, to the museum, because it's a museum today, especially the children visitors, they have reported kind of like a heightened sense of fear when they are on those stairs for whatever reason. Also, not just kids, but adults too have actually encountered unsettling experiences in that same area by the stairs and on the stairs. They feel like phantom hands pressing on their backs, right? And even sensing kind of like an eerie moisture. So like a dampness. So it's like, like if you are, I don't know, if you're like walking and someone has really hot hands and they put them on your back and because the heat against your back and say like your back's on the cooler side and it causes that moisture.
Yeah.
So they say that they feel the hands on their back and then it leaves like that moisture.
Weird.
It creates like a moisture.
Or like a cool clammy hand against a
that
warm
too.
body. Yeah,
something, right? Either way, it creates this moisture. It seems like if, they're saying, well, it's like unseen, forces seem to manifest, highlighting the tragic events of the past is what people will say a lot because, and it makes me wonder though, because there is always the power of, when you plant a seed and you tell the story of what happened there and the tragedy that occurred and things that are reported, and then you go and you take the tour or whatever up those stairs or down those stairs, that's already planted. So is it just something that they think they're, I mean,
the power of suggestion,
it can be really strong for some people,
especially in the paranormal. People there are people that just want everything to be something paranormal. And so they feel, some sweat rolling down their back because it's a hot summer day and it's cooler, right? And they're like, that was a cold, clammy ghost hand. I'm moist now.
Oh, gross. Okay, you might want... Okay, never mind. Moving on. So many visitors actually report hearing the eerie sound of a child's laughter that echoes through the house. Here's the thing, though. The child that was dropped or whatever
Right.
was an infant.
Yes.
So I know infants can laugh, but
Yep.
this is described as more like what you would hear like a toddler,
Right.
you know. So I'm not sure about that one.
Well, from my understanding is that ghosts can come back and appear as they choose
Whatever age.
at whatever age. So you could have someone who just wants to come back and be a little more mischievous,
Possibly.
and
Or it could be yet another spirit.
or yet another spirit. And it's like, you know what? I'm going to mess with people. I'm going to laugh as a little child and see everyone freak out.
Well, you know, and here's the thing though, is a spirit doesn't necessarily have to be, had a tragedy on that property or in that home to actually, they can be transient spirits that just kind of like, hey, there's kids here and people here and I'm going to go over here, you know, and
Yeah.
so we have experienced those things too.
We have.
In our investigations at times.
We've had encounters with transient spirits before. So yeah, that could be another piece to it.
Sure. Okay, so another one reported there is there's reported that there's two sorrowful apparitions. Both were maids. One who suffered actually a terrible fall, and then there was one that's reported to be a confined woman who spent a lifetime in isolation. So that raises some more questions.
Well, I mean, yeah, if you think about it, if these,
Oh, well,
you got some more.
I got some more.
All right, what else you got?
And I'm wondering if this is the confined one. But one of the maids was actually pregnant with Christopher Crawley's child.
Whoa.
Oh, no. She jumped from the balcony to her death.
So that's the one that suffered a severe tragedy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm guessing. So it says her ghost still haunts the veranda and that there's a ghostly bloodstain that marks the spot of her impact. Which I wonder if they try to clean that up and then it just reappears. Because I have heard of that happening before, too.
I have too. And you're talking about the veranda. So that's where everyone enters in. Can you imagine walking into the building, looking down, and it's like, there's a blood stain on the ground. You're like, oh, yeah, it comes and goes.
Comes and goes. Yeah, we clean it up. We scrub it out and stuff and pressure wash it, but it just shows back up. So it's reported that they're present, linger in the shadows. So another one is a phantom coachman and a stable boy.
Ooh.
So we've heard of a phantom coachman before.
Yeah, we covered that one on the
Borley.
The Borley
Rectory, yeah. So there's a young stable boy named Morris, and he was sleeping with the horses and carriages. And he was burned to death when his boss, thinking he was pretending to be ill, set his straw mattress on fire. He was too ill to get up, so cries and yells, they say, can still be heard in the night coming from that area. I don't know about this one.
I don't know who would do that to a person. That is really rough. Oh,
I think
you're not really sick. Let me light your mattress on fire. Oh, you died.
Oh, you must have been sick.
I guess you were sick.
Yeah, he was too weak and ill to get up and get out of the fire.
That's horrible.
Isn't that horrific?
That's terrible.
So there's also a phantom coachman, forever committed to his role. And it says that he roams the grounds, and on moonless nights, the haunting clip-clops of horse hooves and the rattling of the carriage wheels can actually be heard echoing.
That sounds very residual.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because they're saying the coachman, but it's the carriage and the chains, like, you know, the gear on the horses
Right.
and the horse hooves. I don't see where...
Well, they said he also roams maybe that is part of the roaming of the grounds in that avenue, but...
Yeah, I'm guessing that's what they're referring to.
Yeah, that sounds pretty residual. Just if you're gonna, I mean, it would still be really cool. Can you imagine sitting out there like on a beautiful night where you got a full moon and you just hear like click clop of horses, and then there's nothing near you.
That would be kind of cool. So another one's the crying baby. So a lot of places have a crying baby.
Yes, they do.
So the spectral baby cries, they come from the nursery, even though no infants reside in the homestead. Well, now wait a minute. Did we not just cover one that said that the maid dropped an infant on the stairs?
Yeah, but they're saying currently. I mean, can you imagine being in the nursery and hearing a baby cry when there's not a baby in the building?
Yeah. That would be scary.
That would be terrifying.
I'd be like, nope, I'm out.
I'm done.
So the phenomenon, it actually confuses and frightens countless visitors to this place. So that just adds to the eeriness of that place, you know? It's just like... So now there's a malevolent spirit. So possibly one of the homestead's ill-fated servants is what they're thinking. But it's been known to target visitors by hair pulling and unexplained scratches and just an overwhelming sense of dread to those who visit. So
that definitely sounds like a negative entity.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like somebody with a lot of anger.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of resentment.
I mean, could it be an ill-treated servant? Sure.
Sure. Well, it could be lots of things, though.
It could be Mrs. Crawley, too.
Well, we don't know.
Yeah.
So there's a phantom gardener. They say he's was dedicated to his craft, and he tends to garden even under the cover of darkness. Says that he's reported to wander the estate's extensive grounds and just kind of going about his duties. So that sounds a little more residual in that sense.
Yeah. Unless, like, you have untrimmed hedges and you come back in the morning and they're trimmed.
Oh, there's no reports of anything like that, though. It just, like, he's going through the motions. So
yeah, that definitely sounds
I would tend to think it was residual. So then there's a creepy mirror.
Gotta have one of those.
So it says throughout the house, eerie apparitions are actually captured in photographs and a lot of times in the mirrors. The reflections kind of defy explanation and really unsettle those who actually witness it.
I set about to try to find people's paranormal experiences on this place.
Yeah.
And I came across one, and it was about this mirror. A mirror.
Well, yeah, this says it's just one of the mirrors.
Yeah.
It doesn't say all of them.
And they're talking about, like, well, I was with a bunch of skeptics, and, I'm kind of a skeptic myself. And here's this picture that I took of this mirror using just my phone camera.
Sure. Which most people use.
Here's the deal. Is this picture was grainy because it took it in a darker room.
Sure.
That totally makes sense, right? Except in the mirror itself was an apparition, and if you can't see my air quotes, they're there, of what looked like a woman that wasn't grainy, that was
perfectly
clear, with crisp, clean edges around the outline, and then the whole thing was filled in a different color, and I'm like, no. Absolutely not.
Why do people do things like that?
I don't know. They
mean,
do.
That is upsetting. And I know a lot of paranormal people that are, like have paranormal teams or go on these investigations, and they treat it seriously with respect to the property, to the spirits, right?
Yeah.
But why do those do they just want their 15 minutes or what? Because you give us all a bad name when you do this crap.
Well, they weren't even an investigator. That's the thing. They were on a tour.
But I don't care.
Yeah.
It's a tour of a known haunted location.
I think people, there's always faked evidence out there, right? And
yeah, but why?
That's not the first one I figured I saw on this place. And I think people just want to believe so much that they create their own, and they want people to believe.
Oh.
And that's what happens. People get duped.
What they do is they just make it harder for those that actually go out and do this seriously.
Yeah.
They make it harder so that when we do find something that we really believe is actually paranormal, people are like, nah, you're fake, because there's so much fake crap out there.
Yeah.
And it's upsetting.
It's tough, right?
But it is. It's tough. I don't get people.
True paranormal stuff is hard to believe anyway.
It is, because there's so many unknowns.
Well, even the stuff we've taken and stuff that we've captured, it's you show it to somebody else and they can, one, easily pick it apart.
Oh, always. You can always pick something
Yeah.
apart if you really
But
want to.
you look at it and you're like, man, that is fantastical in what you see. And it's like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And you know it's not Photoshop, but some people are just really bad at Photoshopping.
And then there's others,
those cases.
and then there's others that are so fantastic at it that it's really hard unless you get an expert to go in and verify that like the footage or the photo was not tampered with in any way, shape, or form or altered.
Yeah, you got those guys out there too.
Yeah, exactly. So there's also reports of a mischievous ghost. I kind of like those sort of spirits when we go places that are just
fun.
They can be fun. They're just out to kind of,
Play pranks.
And, as long as they're not hurting anybody, I really get a kick out of it, really. So they delight in moving objects, slamming doors. So a lot of the typical stuff you hear about.
Yep.
Sometimes this one says that this one actually will create an atmosphere of unease. That I wouldn't really put that to like define a mischievous ghost, making you feel uneasy.
I think that just depends on the individuals, though. Because if you're walking down a hallway and let's say the door at the end of the hallway slams or sounds like it slams shut.
Sure.
If you're not used to this, if you're not into the paranormal or used to the paranormal, most people feel very uneasy and unsettled.
Yeah. I suppose that's true. But yeah, that's all that's on that one.
Yeah.
So the typical, doors slamming, stuff like that.
Yep.
Moving objects. So they also have the ghost of Jack Simpson. So one of the more recent ghosts that's reported at the Monte Cristo is that of Jack Simpson. And he was actually one of the home's caretakers. And he was actually shot to death in 1960 on the porch in front of the house by a young man. So this man had been watching Alfred Hitchcock movie Psycho, and he watched it 3 times before committing the crime. The words "Die, Jack, ha ha" were carved into the shed door, where they can still be seen today.
Yeah, there's a picture of it etched into the door, and you can see it.
Like, that's messed up.
Yeah, that's taken Hitchcock's Psycho to a
whole new level.
Yeah.
Like, you watch it 3 times, and then you decide why I'm in this movie, but it's not a movie, it's my reality, and so you go and do this. I mean, who knows what his state of mind was. Wasn't good.
Not good.
So then there's a ghost called Harold, and Harold was actually hit by a coach on the property as a young boy. So he sustained a severe head injury, and so as a result of the brain trauma, Harold kind of exhibited uncontrollable aggression.
Ooh.
And he could no longer care for himself. And he was chained inside the coach house for over 30 years. That's weird.
So he suffered a traumatic brain injury.
Yep. So he was hit by a coach.
And then because
traumatic injury.
And so because they were having issues with him,
yep, they chained him
in the coach house
for 30 years. So he would scream and howl every day, almost nonstop. So that gave kind of, local children believing a monster was trapped on the grounds because they'd hear this wailing and this screaming every day. What would you think if you didn't know?
Yeah.
I would think there was too.
That's why you get a Baby Ruth bar.
Stop it. This is not the Goonies. So authorities eventually found him and as an adult moved him to an asylum. And that's where he later died. And so he still haunts the property.
Well, that's where he belonged in the first place. He should have went to an asylum the first time. So
I know. I mean, hopefully when he was moved there the last few years of his life, where, I hope he was not mistreated.
Yeah. Well, often those asylums,
I know.
On the year, they were
I know. It was bad.
Mistreated.
And that's what I'm saying. You spend in the coach house, you spend 30 years chained.
And maybe he had a decent life chained. I mean, it sounds messed up, right? To say that someone could have a decent life.
Well, I'm guessing if he wailed and screamed constantly.
But he might have done the same thing inside of an asylum, too.
Yeah, we don't know. Yeah. It doesn't really go into that detail. So it's really hard to say, but it still makes me very sad.
It is very sad.
So they've actually heard his chains rattling, and some even claim to hear his screams. So
That'd be terrifying in itself.
I think, yeah, that definitely would raise your hair a little bit, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would.
Let's see. First paranormal experience. So in 1963, Olive and Reginald Ryan, they purchased the rundown mansion.
Yeah.
Okay, we went through this and began to repair it. Late one evening, after they went on a shopping trip to pick up building supplies, they returned home to an astonishing sight. Bright light streams from every door and window.
So lights are on.
Lights are on, bright, like unusually bright. To them, it seemed impossible because the house had no electricity.
So you didn't leave the lights on because there are no lights.
There are no lights. So the Ryans actually thought burglars were inside, or maybe squatters had returned because there was an issue with squatters in that place when they were making repairs. So they tell their kids to stay in the car, and then as they approach to investigate it, the lights just all go out all at once. And they search the house. They find no one anywhere in that home.
Jeez.
So this was actually only the first of a lot of unnerving experiences that the Ryans actually had. They usually hear footsteps walking across an upstairs balcony.
That could be Mr. Crawley. Because remember, he would sit up there and watch over.
Sure. And so it very well could be. Sometimes they see a woman in white standing there. And Olive feels hands resting on her shoulders when no one's there. So that kind of goes in line with the hands on your back on the staircase. Except for these are on her shoulders. But still.
Still terrifying.
I mean, and, it could be friendly. I mean, you'd have to experience it yourself to determine that because, your body's your best tool. If you felt hands on your shoulders and you know nobody's there, but it feels really wrong and uneasy, then you know it's not good.
Right.
Listen to your body.
Yes, it's your best tool.
Yes, it is. So Reginald, he hangs a picture and then he finds that it falls on the floor. It's unbroken though. And it happened 2 nights in a row. So he found it on the floor.
Hung it up on the wall.
Made sure that it was secure. And then the very next night around the same time, same thing.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. So
did not like that picture on that wall.
Obviously they didn't want it there or they just didn't like the picture at all. So the most disturbing incident is that one evening, one of their daughters goes to check on one of her little brothers that was sleeping.
Yeah.
And she actually sees an elderly man in old-fashioned clothes standing at the end of her brother's bed. Now, that would be startling because you don't expect somebody to be there. You know it's not your mom or your dad or anybody. So that would be unnerving, especially for a young girl.
Yeah.
To see that. So obviously she races off screaming to her family about a man that's in the house and they find no one. So the little brother, which was Lawrence, he learns about the incident, when he's later, in later years when he's a teenager.
Right.
And he moves out of the main house to a different bedroom. And he says, I always felt like someone was watching me in that room. So, yeah.
Kind of sounds like Mr. Crawley.
And it very well could be. Maybe he's in there like, hey, who are you? Or maybe he's in there and, because Lawrence was a little boy at the time. So maybe he's in there like he would check on his own kids back in the day. Maybe he's just checking on this little one.
He had 7 kids, right? And some boys and girls.
Yeah.
So maybe it was something more fatherly, more lovingly. They don't have any real negative things to say about Mr. Crawley. So
no, not really. So I don't know. Overall, what I get, the sense of the hauntings here are, a lot of them aren't harmful.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be anything really malevolent.
Well, the one where they call it the malevolent spirit and scratches and, and pulling of hair, that one maybe. But as for all the others, I just get the feeling that they're not.
Yeah.
They're just not. They're not meaning any harm.
Basically type 1s, just a normal everyday haunting.
Yeah, like the missus kind of watching over her home, you know. those pieces. I don't feel like any are horrible or bad.
No, it doesn't seem like that. It seems, it does seem like it's a very active place.
It does. It really does. It's definitely, I mean, we say this about just about every place that we talk about, add it to the list. It's another place we'd like to go and investigate.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not anything super fancy. But it
not
is
by today's standards, right?
But it is a nice home. It looks nice. Obviously, it's a museum now, but I would love to go in and see the inside.
It reminds me of a larger version of the Mackey Mansion.
Yeah.
In essence, right?
Sure.
And that's the thing is like these homes were mansions in the day. And granted, you had room for husband, wife, 7 kids, and their servants.
Sure.
So the grounds are rather large.
Yeah.
And the house is, it is a good sized house.
Yeah, but like when we went to the Mackey Mansion, while that was a mansion back in the day, by today's standards, it's not even.
Our townhouse is bigger than that Mackey Mansion.
More square footage, yeah. So.
And that's the thing, right? It's like. You're talking about a home that's 130 years old.
Sure.
I think it's amazing that it's still standing.
Well, like I said, craftsmanship.
Yes. Well, it is 18-inch walls. Like if you have a base foundation of 18 inches on the walls, that's thick. Like most homes today are built with like 6-inch walls, 8-inch walls. This is.
Yeah, but today's building standards are really lacking.
They are.
There's been so many new builds that are just absolute garbage.
Yeah. It's the difference, right? Homes today are built out of expedience. Homes built then were built
to last.
Because let's face it, like you're going to build a home. You don't want to build another one.
No.
And so you're going to build it.
You would think that would be today's standard too.
You would think.
Especially with how much a home cost you.
Yeah.
Like you're looking at $500,000 for a very basic home.
Depending where you live.
Depending on where you live, at least in Utah. And it's ridiculous. It's like, yeah, I see this barn that's missing 3 of its 4 walls and is leaning to the left. Yeah, I might be able to afford that if I can pull in, 6 figures a year.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And that's exactly how it feels. Maybe I can, move into this Cracker Jack box for $450,000.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So if you've ever been to the Monte Cristo homestead, and this is located in New South Wales, which is, a big province in Australia. But if you've ever been there, let us know. Let us know if you've had a paranormal experience there. Or if you haven't, just let us know what it's like. Because honestly, it looks absolutely amazing. And it would be a place to visit when, if we ever get down to Australia.
Well, yeah. But, and it's one of those things, like we're not going to be able to go to all the places we want to go, whether it's to investigate or just even to see or visit these areas. So for those that have been there and have went through there, what was it like? And did you have any eerie feelings or any paranormal experiences? But, even if you didn't, how was it?
Yeah, exactly. Let us know.
Worth a trip?
If you guys are fans of the ghostly and the haunted places, make sure to like and subscribe to our channel. And as always, stay ghosty, my peeps. Thank you for listening to the Paranormal Peeps podcast. You can find us on social media at Twitter at CPR Paranormal, on Facebook at Paranormal Peeps Podcast and Cold Spot Paranormal Research. And you can find us on Instagram at coldspot_paranormal_research.